YouTube, it's Brian Phillips. Look at this Coast Guard version of the Eclipse 360, flown by Brian Phillips. Starting in normal mode, going to stunt 2. But you know what's awesome about helis? You can fly them in wind. And by the way, I love this heli. It's awesome. Beautiful lights. Can't tell in this video, but I fly it at twilight. It's perfect. Beautiful high-vis livery. And I love flying it. Yes, I am flying in stunt 2, so I'm out of safe. I'm out of auto leveling. You can do it too. We'll help get you there. You're on Brian Phillips RC. If you want to support us, check out the links in the video description below. What are we doing in this video? Why am I voiceovering? That's because we're doing the repair series. Why are we repairing a perfectly good heli? Well, it's not going to be so perfectly good here in mere moments, and you'll see in glorious slow motion after the full speed crash. Now, we are clipping many clips together here. This was probably a 25-minute video, and we just clipped it down so it wasn't super long. And here on Brian Phillips RC, as usual, we're trying to keep it short. So, guys, if you're brand new to the channel, click the bell, subscribe, smash the like button. If you want to support us in otherwise, Patreon, PayPal, and YouTube super thanks, as well as YouTube members. All appreciate it, but the best way is to buy that awesome heli from the links in the video description below, or follow the links and we'll teach you how to do it when you're repairing a helicopter, hence the repair series. We're going to show you exactly the process we did from crash to repaired and also test flown. It's a very fun process flying these, learning to fly, but if you expect to fly helis and never crash, you are in la la land, okay? Sometimes you crash and you get lucky, other times you crash and do it right like I do, and cause about $75–80 worth of damage on this particular crash. We did order, full disclosure, a little bit more parts than we needed. That was my mistake. It was just precautionary. Here it comes, guys. Get ready.
Oops.
Slow motion. Guys, look at this. Watch this. The ground did not yield at all. As you wish. Okay, so that's it, guys. The rest is live, Brian.
Oops. It was that ground that got me again. Looks like we sheared off. Oh yeah, we lost the blade too. Yeah. Son of a biscuit lover. I guess we're gonna have to order some parts for this too.
Guess so.
What else did we lose? You see anything else? Looks like we lost a linkage here and a linkage there. Let's check all our other surfaces. Forward, backward, lean left, lean right. Nope. We also broke the shaft. Got bent.
Oh.
So, yeah, the shaft is bent. And then I think we also have a dead spot on that gear. Right there.
Oh yeah, I see it.
See the gear?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Win some, you lose some. Okay, so we're inside now, and we already know a couple of the components. Cam crew's gonna come closer. We know that this blade broke, okay? That one must have let off into the ground because you can tell it's kind of dirty. And then this one here actually seemed to be fine, but I'm guessing you'll be buying them in a pair, okay? And what else broke? I don't know. Everything seems pretty good there. There's feathering rods that go through there. There's a screw you can see that goes into the feathering rod. And so I think really we're going to need at least the blades or blade set. And obviously this part broke. We lost the linkages that go from here down to this part on the swash. Okay. And we already spun it after the flight, and you can tell if you spin this fast enough, you can see it walk. See it walk? So we bent that shaft, okay? And then we also know if you turn your light on, I might be able to, I don't know that it's any better one side. Yeah, it is better on this side.
This side.
You can see right here as I spin that shaft, there's bare spots on the gears right there. And then there's another gear.
Yep.
Bare spot, bared spot. Not totally bare, but it's getting close. So fortunately, the motor seems to be okay. The servos all felt fine because they were protected by everything popping off here, including this. So there's a component that's gonna have to get replaced here. It's either this whole assembly that goes through this, because that sits atop it like that, Okay, so I'm pretty sure that's all machined together, and there is a shaft that is got a set screw that goes through it that actually binds it to the prop shaft. Okay, but at some point we're going to have to take this thing apart. So let's turn off that light. Okay, so what are we going to do to fix this? I'm going to type bprc.me, enter. Okay, and then it's going to open Brian Phillips RC. Okay, and then we're going to go to search by type, and we're going to go to helicopters. Then once we find the helicopter we're looking for, which is pretty obvious which one it is when it loads, because all you have to do is find the picture of the helicopter you're looking for, and you can see we're halfway down. So there's quite a few helicopters on here. There it is. So then you can go shop now, or you can watch the video. So let's say you want to watch the video. You can either watch it here, or you can go to YouTube. So it's going to go straight to YouTube, and you can watch the advertisement. So of course we'll mute that. We'll skip the ad like a normal human American. And then we can scroll down like we're going to buy it here, right there. You can click on that one, or from the search, you can go to shop now, which is going to take you to the same thing. If you look down here, it says bprc.me/Eclipse 360, and then watch here. That's the same exact link there. Okay. The only difference is that YouTube is going to have some tokens involved. Okay. So over here, if you hit shop now, it's going to load Horizon's website. And then it's going to pop up and you'll see search results. So you can click out of whatever offer they've got here. Hey, look at that. Then you can click on the helicopter, or you can click on the parts that you know you need already. So now this, I got a little bit of damage on it, so I may end up getting a new one of those. Plus we kind of had a damage on ours anyway, so we might get a new one of those. The rest of the body fared really well. We didn't have any issues there. But it looks like we've got lots of different components here. That's for the other silver one, and that's for the silver one, those black tail rotors. And it looks like, as you can see, there's lots of other components here, but you're like, which ones are for the helicopter I need? Well, that's how you do it. So you click on this, not add to cart, but just a picture, and you scroll down, you can see the helicopter. They've got the installed, the different type of gear. We have just the skids on ours, which is a different setup. And it does come with them both. See, there in their video. So then scroll down, there's Brian James. Okay, and then, oops, where is it?
Right above Brian James parts, looking for parts.
Yeah, there's parts. But then there's also overview, all features, specs, videos, parts, and support. So that's what I was looking for. So then you can actually find the full manual, which that's going to download. And so this is what we are going to show you, because then if you don't have access to the manual immediately, you can scroll down here and find the exploded view diagram, and it's going to show you the different parts you might need. And this is the other thing I got to figure out. So I got to take out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then 9, 10, 11, 12. And that's going to allow us to pull the whole module out, and that's going to give us access to getting full repaired components. Okay. So then if you come down here a little bit more, you'll eventually get to the exploded view diagram. There is an exploded view diagram. There it is. Okay, so this is what I broke. Number 30 right there. That one I broke. We lost number 28. There's two of them. One on the left and one on the right. And you can control, see what I'm doing? Go back a little bit. Control and then scroll if you have a scrolly wheel on your mouse. Or you can find plus and minus somewhere on this right there. So you can zoom a little bit. You can see exactly what you need to see. Ah, look, that comes with it. That comes with it. See?
Oh.
28's a different component. Okay. So what we're doing is we're looking for the components we know for sure we need. So we need that thing. And then the shaft is bent, so we'll have to replace the shaft. So we need 33. And what else do we need?
We need the gear.
So we need the gear. That's right, the main drive gear. So I can pull up a notepad and I'll just resize this for this is just the way we'll do it. So we need parts needed. Boom, boom, boom. Okay. 30 we thought, but we'll check on that. Then 33 we know we need. And then let's see if we can find this rotor assembly, this adapter. See, that comes in a kit, it looks like. We need 34. So, well, 34. So blade set, blade, maybe. And then, why is that grayed out, hon?
I don't know. I wonder if it's part of another assembly?
Maybe it is. But then, as you can see, we've got 33 we already put. Yep, we already have that. So I'm just going to write this down. This is the prop shaft, or the main shaft. Main shaft. And then 30 is, I think 30 is actually wrong, because 30 must be, well, maybe it is. See, it says 29. There's the ball link. And then 32, 28 contains all three of those components.
All of those.
But my fear is that might be this one, or that might be that one. See that one right there?
Yeah.
I think it's that one, because that has a ball link on top of it. The one we're looking for would actually attach directly there. So it'd be the one that goes on there.
On like that grayed out piece.
Yeah, why is that grayed out? So weird. Because it would attach here, and then it would go up. So we got to figure out which one that is. And it looks like this one maybe it's the same as another component. Maybe that's why it's grayed out. Or they have another exploded view diagram. I bet they do. Yeah, so here's the other rest of the components once you pull out the guts. Okay, so I'm going to go back to 100%.
We need 35 was the main gear.
Yep, 35. Okay,
Yeah, I don't
so
need
the
to put
main
those
gear.
yet.
So it'd be 35, main gear. And then we should have all the components that adapt it in, the bearings, assemblies, and all that stuff. But once we replace the gear set, we've got the shaft replaced, the drive shaft, or not the drive shaft. That'll take care of that grindy sound too. Okay. And then we just got to figure out how to get those, because I don't want to go find them in the grass. It looks like 28 might be it, because they can't be exactly the same. And if they are, then you would have these numbered down here, because why aren't they numbered? See, here's 27 as the output shaft on the servo. There's your feathering shaft, number 2. Or you know what? That might be the whole rod that holds both of them together, I wonder. I bet that's it. Oh, 31. Look at 31. That's this one. So we got to be in the right spot there. But yeah, I think we're going to release this with that screw and that nut. Once they come apart, then we'll be allowed to take those components off, and we'll be left with this piece here.
Is that piece broken, like right where your
Yes,
thumb
it
was?
is. Yes, it is.
So that's what 30 was that you wrote down, but you didn't write down what it was.
Yeah, I didn't know what it was called.
Right.
But yeah, number 30. And I don't think it's going to come with everything else, but I think we're fine on those. Those components seem fine. Although it's not impossible that when we take this apart, we find that shaft inside, its internal, is bent. Because that shaft holds both of these together, but I don't feel any slop or any play on it. I mean, after all, when you hit the ground on something like that, these move. Just not quite quick enough.
Does this piece come with the blade set, and that's why it's grayed out, maybe?
That would be incredibly unusual if it came with it.
I think so.
I doubt they send those out. But okay, so now we'll go back to the parts and support. So we'll close this, and we're going to scroll down to replacement parts. So as you can see, when you follow Brian Phillips RC, at least get started in the right place. And I'm just going to close the cookies question. Okay, so obviously we need that thing. So do you want me to just add stuff to the cart? So add to the cart. Okay, so it's added to the cart. We'll add this to the cart. Is it added? Added? Okay, yep. Then there's the landing gear. We don't care about that. Yeah, it looks like we don't need any of that. And then we start getting into these. Okay, fly barless linkage set. We don't need that. Those are the longer ones. Flybarless motor shaft. Okay, so we can add that to the cart. Looks like it comes with 2 of them. Okay, and then we can verify the part number by going back to exploded view diagram should we get into a circumstance where we need to do that. That's why. Linkage rod set. See?
Oh.
Yep, that's why. So add to cart. And then that means that we would need to add to cart for those as well, because those are going to be the adapters that adapt us from the ball links on. Okay, and then there's more, so we can hit the next. Remember, we need the main gear set. Yep, we need that one. So add to cart. Main. So add to cart. And this is already embedded into both components. So even if we, because this isn't broken, we don't have to replace it. We've got that, and we've got that.
Just need the linkage
We just need
part.
the linkage between.
Okay.
And then this is the spindle. That's the thing that goes between. So I'm probably just, it's tempting to just order it to be on the safe side. Now, did the gear fare well on the motor itself? I'm looking, it's metal on plastic, so I'd be amazed if it's damaged. Guys, I can see right here
Oh, okay.
from the angle, but you guys can't see. I'm looking at it and just inspecting as I spin. I don't see anything damaged on it. So, which makes sense because it's much harder material than the actual gear. So all this crap, I'm going to close, 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 and close. And then let's just scroll and verify we don't see anything we missed. Or if they have something as a kit. No, it doesn't look like we missed anything. The tail boom. Don't need that. Okay, sweet. So then we can go back over to our main list, and we know we got that one taken care of. We know we got the main shaft taken care of. We know we got the blades taken care of. Was it 2 or 1?
I think it was a set.
And then the main gear we got as well. So then the only thing that might not be included so far would be this thing. So I'm just gonna be careful and add it to the cart. So then my next move is gonna be, obviously at some point, I'm gonna go check my cart. Why don't you give me a quick sec, I'll do that. Okay, so order summary, of course, we've got blade sets and all sorts of stuff. We've got the hood, canopy, then we've got the flybarless main shaft, which is the big one. Then we've got all the linkages, which it looks like it's got at least 2 of those. We might need to do 2 because if it's the shortest one, we don't want to be screwed.
Oh, yeah.
So unfortunately, I got to add that to 2. This has a ton of them, so it looks like all those must be the same size. And if you look kind of close, you can tell they all look to be the same size and same style. So that's okay. So we'll obviously have some more spare parts. This is kind of an expensive one, so that's unfortunate that the head broke like that. These are cheap, but you get 2 of them in there, so that's fine. And then the spindle for $11. And that's where it gets painful because you're looking at $150 for one crash. That's still a cheap crash for a helicopter.
Yeah.
But really okay, then you would just proceed to check out like normal, or you can view the cart and overview. So we'll do that real quick. So then basically you can come to this checkout, view cart. Just want to make sure we don't have any of our private stuff on there, which we don't. And then you would just proceed to check out here, and you'd put in your credit card information and tell your wife about the thing you ordered her.
And if you like have any club points or cash back
This is
or
where
whatever,
use
you
it.
can use all of that.
But just so
kind
you
of
know, the whole time you'd be supporting Brian Phillips RC because you started from what now?
If you go back to the manual and you scroll down one more page, if you aren't sure what those parts are called, is there a part list on the next page that would actually tell you?
So what we can do now is if you were in any doubt, you could look at the numbers, and then if you go to the key, right here, it shows you the part number. So like number 30 is the blockhead set. Okay. Am I in English still?
The first column is the only English column.
Oh, okay. So number 30, this is the part number, okay? So we can control C that over to this. Okay, so there's our part number.
Yep.
Now we can go back over to the shopping cart evaluation, review. Okay, and then I can bring that up onto the screen. And you're just looking for 4322. So 40.
Next one down, 2 more down.
There it is. So there's that. So we can tell that we got the right part. And then the main shaft set, that one's pretty easy. So we'll Alt-Tab back, Control Control tab back over. Actually, we'll go to here. What was that number? 33?
35.
33, 35? 33. This is the next part I was going to get. I'm just going in order. So 33, main shaft. We know that's correct. But we can verify it here by going back to our shopping cart. And the main shaft. So that's 4347. So you can see we have 4347 there. Yep, I said that the blades are pretty obvious, but we'll just go back to that. Was that 35?
Yes. No, 34 was the blades.
Okay, so 34. We don't need 35.
Yeah, 35 is the main gear.
The main gear? Oh, helical main gear. Okay. So this one's 34 for the blade set. And so now we need 5201B. And where's 5201B? Yep, 5201B. And guys, if you've never put together a parts list like this is pretty standard stuff. If you work in industrial machinery, you do it all the time. And it looks like they've had this set. They were expecting us to crash it. Yeah. So that's this. And then the only thing we don't have on this list is the linkages. And that's what makes me a little bit nervous. Because if you look up here, if I scroll up to this page, and I just kind of move this out of the way a little bit, they have that grayed out. So is there a spot? See, it says 28 is all three of these components, right? And that also says 32. Okay. So let's look at 28 and 32. So watch this. So 28 and 32, and that's going to be the linkages. Ball link. Ball link. Linkages for the swash plates to main rotor. And forgive my typographical errors here, guys. Just trying to do this so that it's easy for somebody else to follow along. So 28 is the fly barless linkage set. Okay, so we can go there. Now we'll go over here, and that's going to be 28, right? And then 32 is going to be what? 32 is right here. Whoops. So that's a fly barless link. Yeah, it's a rod end. Correct?
Yeah, push rod set.
So there you go. So now we've got, I'm just going to put them on two different lines because they are two different items. So that, even though they're two different values here, it's going to be used together to replace the parts that flew off in the yard, which we go get a metal detector out and try to find them, which I know it sounds ridiculous, but we do use a metal detector to find parts like this. So now my next thing to do before we would place an order like this is to actually peel this out. So we're going to do that real quick and just show the process. Now, real quick, if you didn't catch it on the manual part, I'm going to scroll up and it shows how to take it out. And I'm trying to find the page. Yep, here it shows. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So there's 12, and they should be, I think they're 2 millimeters. So obviously it's de-energized and all that. And I was having a great time flying this. I was bummed I crashed it. It was totally my fault. I just hit the ground, and I was low, but it was extremely windy. And I was pushing the limits of my skill to hold it in a position. Kind of lost sight of it just a little tiny bit. And we're just going to push this out of the way. So that's 1. Now 2. I've never taken this apart yet, so this is the first time we've done this. And so if you guys are brand new to Brian Phillips RC, we like to show start to finish. Okay, so we'll take out the tail parts. Oh, those ones are bigger, so we'll go up to 2 millimeters from the 1.5. And what I like to do when I'm taking apart a machine like this is I put screws in piles. Not sure what you guys do to keep your materials straight, but when you take something apart like this with a lot of different parts, the worst thing you can do is take it apart with all the parts in one big pile. I mean, yes, you can probably figure it out. I mean, we've built enough of these things over the years that it's not really especially difficult to take them apart or put them together. But I am going to tell you this right now, beware the blast.
Right. When our son does this, and he learned it from you, he'll just go grab like a white sheet of printer paper and he puts them in piles and then kind of like labels where they came from.
Yeah, that's another trick you can do if you want. And, you know, as I've gotten older and a little bit more mechanically savvy, I've walked away from needing to do that as much.
Right.
But that doesn't mean that I don't occasionally. We just got this countertop to make sure that you can't ever find a screw that you've lost.
You're welcome.
Yes.
You picked it.
I did. You're right. It was my fault. Honey, just beware the blast.
I'm staying far, far away.
Yeah, you gotta watch out for that. Okay, so there's that. So now we've got a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 done. And then we have to undo the bottom ones. Now I don't know what size these are. Yep, they're gonna be this. Of course, the one that I don't have in my hand makes perfect sense. So undo these, and what that's gonna do is that's gonna allow us to pull the entire fuselage free from the powertrain, if you will, or like the helicopter system. Okay, so we've got those two. They don't want to come out very good, but it's upside down, so I'm going to go ahead and just give it a little tap. Little tap, tap, tap-a-roo. There should be some wires that come out with this one, too. Yep, there are a couple of wires. They're one singular plug. Excuse me, I take it back. There's 2 plugs. And what I want to do is I want to make sure that I don't have trouble finding them later. So I'll set this aside, and it looks like those are actually held in with little retention. See?
Yeah.
That's pretty sweet. So we'll just set this aside, and kind of like my son does, I kind of lay it out in order that I've taken it apart of the vehicle to make it slightly easier on myself without going so far as to actually getting a clean sheet of paper. So the reason I'm taking this apart now is because A, I have to take it apart to fix it. So might as well take it apart now and verify I don't see something I missed before.
Right.
And right now, admittedly, the only part I've ordered that I'm not sure I need is this shaft thing that goes between the two, right? Because we do have that in there.
I think we do. Yeah, we'll have to
Yeah,
double
we do.
check
It's
everything.
$10.99 for a pair of them. Okay, I didn't quite get this one loosened. And so part of flying helicopters, especially when I was in stunt 2, performing all those things that you guys were watching. And as I've gotten way more comfortable with flying helicopters, I've gotten a little bit more comfortable doing things in environments that are tighter and environments that are more likely that you might end up crashing. That doesn't mean you have to do that. You can fly like a giant pansy until the day you die if you want. That's up to you. But I will tell you this, that as you get a little bit more skill, you tend to push the envelope a little bit more. And so the crashes become a little bit less like mechanical failure driven and a little bit more brain failure driven, right?
Yeah.
But I still love flying. I still love it, okay? So lost 1 screw. And by the way, this is about 1 billion times easier than when I used to have to fix my blade CP1.
That was ridiculous.
Oh, it was terrible.
Every
time. And I was doing so much more with this. Okay, so let's see. There's got to be a wire I have to undo at some point for the actual tail rotor. I'm just not sure when that gets undone, because this has to slide off of here, because it definitely is still mounted back there.
I think you're missing a set of screws somewhere, aren't you?
I think that what's going to happen is there's actually a tail wire that goes back to the tail in about this part, and I bet this is it right here. The color-coded combination right here, that goes to the tail. Okay.
Okay.
So that must be what
That would make sense.
How many did I miss? There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Let's count again. On the drawing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. No, we're done.
Okay.
Okay, so pay attention, folks. You're fine where you are.
Yeah.
Pull it out. Okay, now just pay special attention that you don't have any wires that you haven't undone, and you can kind of fold this down a little teeny bit because it's a foam model. And the stuff that really matters is not foam, okay? Okay, so I'm just going to do this very carefully. Oh, it's a boy. So there you have it, guys. So now that's body is separated, that was like way easier than I thought it was going to be.
We've taken off more screws to put ammo or put.
Yeah, you can definitely see I screwed the pooch bad there.
Yeah.
Now, if I was like on a desert island, I could repair that to where I'd be comfortable flying it.
You could?
Yes. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So stay put. Okay, so on a desert island.
You get your X-Acto knife.
You get your X-Acto knife from your Desert Island Supply, and then you clean these threads out, okay? Just like that. Okay. And you just free up the system to keep working. And then you go to the next one. You can see this one's really bad. You could use like a synthetic brush. You wouldn't want to use a wire brush. You would take all the threads off. You can see where it really flattened out there. But you see what happens when I do that? It just opens up the tooth because you're just knocking all that schmutz out of there. Okay?
I need to update my Desert Island kit.
Yes, you will. So I tell people this when we're getting done fixing a system and it puts their entire plant down because they got hit by lightning or something. I tell them if I'm on a desert island, this is the way I could do it. But since we're not on a desert island, we're going to do it the right way. And usually there's a pretty good reception to that type of description, unless you're my wife while I'm filming a video about a helicopter that I just crashed. But you can see it just folded over the plastic in the direction it was driving at. But as you can see, it just knocks some of the teeth clear. So now as I spin this, I mean, that would still spin, but you would potentially have slippage, and that's the dangerous part. So now look at the prop shaft. I'm going to hold this steady by pressing down on the body of the helicopter and just spinning it. And look at the prop shaft, how much it wiggles.
Yeah.
So that's what you want to avoid. And the other thing you can do is once you've knocked these teeth out, like on a desert island, if you had just like one little mar point, you might be able to get away with running it. But remember, this is bad advice from an airplane guy, not a heli guy. Heli guys are like, nope, replace it all. Get a new helicopter. Start from scratch. Seriously, that's what they would say. Helicopter guys, chime in here. Okay? But you see what I'm talking about. Just that little bit of additional material could make the teeth not mesh. But you know what else? Once you get that crap out of there, you'll still have enough to drive the system. You're just going to lose torque, and it's probably going to be at the worst time, about the time when you're trying to avoid the ground.
Right.
Okay, so you can see there it goes, it spins around. Now, in order to take this all apart, of course, I'm going to have to take all these components off. And so that's where I'm going to stop for today, because my goal is not to redo this whole assembly, because I don't want to split this whole body in half and have 47 parts taken apart. I think to get the shaft out, it looks like it might just be that top part, right? It's kind of hard to tell.
That set screw at the top.
I'm just checking all the servos to make sure there's nothing like crispy feeling in there. All the servos did fine, I think. It's weird, there's still protective covers on our servos. I don't understand that. So that all feels really good. And you guys get a good look at the flight controller, which is awesome, by the way. I was flying another competitive offering out in the wind before this, and it did okay, but it didn't do near as okay as this, and that helicopter is considerably more expensive. Mm-hmm. But it's also more of like a scale offering. Just checking the teeth really good now that I can see on the
metal,
on the motor
piston thing, or what, a piston gear.
Okay, if that's what they call it. I
think so.
So now listen. Sounds better, doesn't it?
It does sound not as...
So what you would do is if and when you were ready to make the decision to go with it, then you would basically run it, and you would see if like parts shoot everywhere. Oh. Oh, there's another one of our little covers.
No, it keeps getting stuck to your finger.
Okay.
There, it went off that time.
So then the next move we have to make is we have to complete the order, get the parts coming, and then when they show up, we can pick this back up. But here on Brian Phillips RC, we want you guys to know that we are here with you. We're here to help get you out of the chair and into the air with basically advice from somebody who also crashes. Not just people who pretend to have perfect skills and never make mistakes, because that person doesn't exist. Even the best pilots in the world that we have flown with, and they have stupidly handed the controls of their really expensive equipment to me to not crash, thank God yet. At the end of the day, everybody crashes. And if you are in this hobby and you don't expect to ever repair something, you're probably fooling yourself, or you're some freak of nature. So, and I want to be more like you when I grow up. But for now, we're going to wait on those parts to show up. And we hope you guys will take our tips, because if you follow the links through Brian Phillips RC will help support Brian Phillips RC financially, and will also help get you in front of the right parts for the right reasons. So stay tuned. More to come. Ooh, one last tip while we wait, okay? So we have all these components here, and they're spread all over the island, and we need to film other videos. So what do? I always take one of these pop thingies, the trays, and I put the components in, and you can see right here, I take a piece of like packing tape or whatever I've got lying around, and then I tape down the loose screws. Now these have a couple of screws in them, but they don't come out, and these have screws in them, but they don't really pop out real easy. So then when you go back to build this in a couple weeks or a month or whatever it takes to get the parts, you're not scratching your head to remember exactly where all the components are. So this is just my tip of the day for all of you fellow RC crashers. So we'll see when the parts show up. The camera crew informed me that some of you will be confused about what pop is, and so I will rephrase that terminology to soda for you non-Midwestern weirdos. All right, so it's been a couple of days, and we're gonna finish fixing this, I hope, because right there, there's a box. So I'm gonna get it right now. We're gonna see what's in it. Hello, box. Oh, it's so strange. There's no packing list on you. So we're gonna open this thing up right now, and we're gonna see. This is hopefully the parts I expect that they are.
Maybe it's a new leaf blower.
This is probably a brand new airplane.
I bet it is.
Nope,
not.
it's not. Okay, what is it? It's a bag. Is this takeout Chinese?
Oh.
No,
Hopefully they overnighted
it's
that.
This, which I was totally kicking myself when I realized we ordered these, because you know what? That would look really good on that Bell 206. Don't show them everything. That's super top secret.
They can't see.
No, you can't show them because we haven't.
Can't tell.
Some pillows. And there's one more box in here, which I believe is the canopy part.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Yep.
So let's just see how this goes. Yeah, this is the Coast Guard canopy. Our canopy was damaged from the piece out sample anyway.
Yes.
So you can see full
Nice.
retail packaging. Okay. So then there's a packing list on here, but there may or may not have been some additional things on here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just fold this, and we might have to redact some of it because it's not relevant to this project. Okay, so the camera crew mentioned it might not actually matter, and that's totally fine. But anyway, we'll come back to that if we need to. So that's the way they packed it. It was fine. Let's see what's inside the bag. Obviously you can see the blades are here because I broke one of the blades. And not to beat a dead horse, we've already gone over some of this, so we won't try to bemoan the issue any more than absolutely necessary to get the job done.
Except that you're here.
Oh, there's that detail. Thanks. Okay, so thank you. Yeah, it was Chinese takeout.
Man, now I'm hungry.
I know, dang it. I shouldn't have said that. That was a bad idea. Okay, so parts. Full disclosure, we ordered 2 different styles, remember? Because we weren't sure if we were going to have to build our own using these 2 kits together. And I think we got 2 of those.
2 sets of those.
Yeah,
yes.
because we weren't sure which one we needed. This one comes as a pair. Uh-oh. Oh, that's just the one at the top. Okay, so we only need that. And then here's 2 gears. It came with 2 gears. So that's gonna go like that. And then here's the main output shaft. That's the one that's gonna suck to put together. And then this, I believe, comes at the top, right? So that should be the parts we need for this particular build. We're gonna start with the easiest stuff and work our way to the slightly harder stuff. But just keeping in mind, the whole time, we're gonna be referring to brianphillipsrc.com. You can also go to a new tab. This should open to blank, right?
It should.
Okay, so then I'm just type bprc.me, pop that up. You notice it's gonna take you to Brian Phillips RC. If your internet's hopefully a little faster than ours, search by type, and then we're gonna go to, where is this? Helis. Where's helicopters? Here it is. We're gonna have to get more helicopter categories.
Yeah, we are.
Because it's getting crazy. So this is the 360, so it should be at the top.
Oh, it's the Eclipse 360.
Oh, that's right. So it'd be
E.
way down.
That's a B's for some reason.
Yeah, that's right. Interesting. Oh, there it is. And it's in the Coast Guard. So we can shop now. And shop now is going to take you to, I'll just close these other websites. There it is. That's the one we want. So rather than add to cart, we're just going to click on this. And then we're going to scroll down to specs or parts and support. And then we're going to open a manual in English. Now, why are we opening the manual in English again? Because I need to actually do some of the work on it. So I'm going to go to the exploded view diagram. And if you watch with me, I'm going to get you down there. Okay. So we'll have to redo that here after a little bit. And then down here, got to be getting pretty dang close. There it is, guys. So that's going to help us figure out how to put all this crap together if we have any doubt, okay? So now, as you remember, we kind of did this thing. This was just our temporary storage, which worked really handy. And so I can rip this stuff off. This was just a pop flat, a soda flat. Okay. Now that that's done, we can start with the easy and work our way to the more difficult. So the first things first, we'll go ahead and pull this up and pull it out. And we'll see if the replacement is as good as we had hoped. I'm gonna get myself a utility knife and some scissors so we can cut packages open as we go. All right, so part of the fun of the hobby is opening all the packages. Oh, it looks so perfect. Nice. Okay, very good. So let's see if that fits. So fitment, these two slide in and that snaps down. Or does it? Hold on. Did I get it in there? Yes, I did. Okay, very good. A little bit of slop here, a little bit of difference in color. Nope, it's just, this is a little bit duller, this is a little bit more shiny. So it looks pretty sweet, okay? So that part's done, so we can actually take this and just leave it out of the way for now, because that will be one of the last steps, is to get back to that, okay?
Right.
So our goal is to work in reverse order, so then the damaged components can just be set out of the way to be kept forever.
Of course.
All right, so the next thing we have to blade, we have to fix is this assembly here. Now we have two blades, okay? And this is kind of nice because, get this, we have one that's not broken and we have one that is most certainly broken, okay? Now the key is, when these break, my suggestion is replace them in pairs, but that is just my suggestion. But because this is also now separated from that, we're gonna be doing a number of steps before we can actually even put this back together. What does that thing say right there?
Oh, they want us to upgrade to their newest ridiculousness.
What, Windows?
Yes.
No, definitely not. Okay, so as you can see the part number, if you're trying to order those parts, great. And we're just gonna work our way through this entire assembly, okay? Now, also, you guys are gonna see that when we do this repair, there's some screws that I took out. And what I did was I just stuck them down onto a piece of tape, and that makes it really easy in case somebody picks up your pop flat and jars it around, okay? Then you can easily find it, okay? So it worked really nice in our application. So I'm torn. Do we go ahead and fix this part first and then reattach it? Is that probably the next that's probably the next move, huh? Okay, and the camera crew was reluctant to film this whole process, and I kind of told her, I was like, well, I think we should probably film it because there's not a lot of people that are giving help on helicopter repairs. So we're gonna defer to, hopefully it doesn't take too terribly long because then she'll say, I told you so, okay? All right, so obviously that thing needs to be replaced. So that's the next big part we're gonna take out. So this is the head block set for the fly barless head block set. Okay. So looks like that's gonna be right there. So we never had to take that thing off, I don't recall.
No.
Is it on the other model? I don't even think it's on it. Is it?
No. There's a hole in the, no.
So
There is a
maybe
hole in the top of it.
Maybe
but
that's
it's
an
not on there.
optional accessory. Okay, so clearly that is the correct part. And then this would actually bite through the shaft on the output shaft portion, okay? Correct? Oh, yeah, it would go right there because that is the broken component right there.
Oh, okay.
So, but in our very wonderful crash, we also kilt this gear, which sucks because that means I got to take this whole shaft out, okay? So taking the whole shaft out is going to probably be not super fun. And then also it looks like the way that this mounts to the shaft, I'm going to have to take the whole thing out no matter what. So just looking at the way this goes together, I don't know if I need to open up the body to separate it out or exactly the best way to do it. I think we're probably going to have to split it in half a little bit to be able to pull that out. It doesn't look like I'm going to be able to just pull it up because the bearings are they're purchased with these right there and there and there and there.
Okay.
And there and there. And then that holds the bearing assemblies, okay? And then once that comes out, then we have to actually put them back onto this shaft set, okay? The fly barless main shaft, okay? So that's gonna be a fun one. And I'll just throw those things out of the way. Nope, just leave them right where I put them. Thank you. All right, so the next big question becomes, how far do I want to disassemble stuff if I am trying to fix things? And is there a top and bottom to these? It looks like they are really symmetrical. So I don't believe that there is a top or bottom. I'm just gonna lay them there. And then if I were to flip it and flip it, I genuinely cannot tell a difference. They look exactly the same.
Yeah.
Show them the people from the end profile. I can't see a difference. So I'm just gonna assume that they are the same, okay? Now these components aren't getting replaced, okay? So because they're not getting replaced, I can just take this off. And remember, the whole idea when you're working with a helicopter is it gets challenging to keep track of everything, okay? So once we pull that up, then the nut will pop out the bottom. See the nut? So there's the nut. So I'm just gonna lay things out the way that I believe they're gonna go back together, okay? Thank you for grabbing that. So I'm gonna pull this bolt out. So that bolt is gonna sandwich through this assembly. Okay, so this is, even though this one is the broken one, we're just gonna set that aside here. And then we have to undo the feathering rod, which I believe we did get new spindles. The spindle is the part that goes through here, and we just didn't know if it was broken or not, okay? So we're gonna assume at this point that it's broken. So just laying that there. We'll take this side off as well. And remember, the whole idea behind all these steps is that you have to do them all at some point, one way or another, okay? So you might as well do it as easy as possible, right? So now I'm gonna set this one the way that it goes, like this, right? Because it gets a little bit tricky to remember where all this crap goes, even if you're mechanically minded, okay? So now this one was not broken, but we'll still set it aside over there, and we can use that as a spare if we ever break another one, okay? Now we wanna rebuild this assembly and do it in the easiest way possible. So let's just inspect both sides. Because I can't tell which way that goes. I think it's ambidextrous. Say that, hon.
Ambidextrous. You said it right.
Okay. So let's slide this back down the shaft and feel where it bites. See how I'm just sliding it until it finds its home position? That's its home position. Okay, so it looks like, for what it's worth, yeah, it pretty much looks like it's the same. Those nuts are backward though. See that? See there's a nut? Oh no, it can go either way. See, there's a nut or a nut.
Okay.
So it looks like that's the way it would go, okay? And there'd be a linkage that goes from here to here. Those were both lost in the crash, which we are gonna replace, okay? So just to keep it as simple as possible, I'm gonna leave this screw in there, and then I'm gonna get ready to disassemble this portion of the assembly, okay? The way we disassemble that is we're gonna undo this screw and that screw simultaneously. They'll pull apart from one another. I do not know what size they are. It looks like one of them is 2 millimeters And if the other one is also 2 millimeters, of course, you're going to have two 2 millimeter drivers. So I'm going to put the 2 millimeter over here. I'm going to go ahead and put away the 2.5. We're not going to need that for some time. And I'm going to grab my second German style. It's 2 millimeter. Okay, so we have a 2 millimeter and a 2 millimeter. And we're going to undo these. Okay. So once these come apart, this is a shaft we weren't sure if it was broken or if it was going to need to be replaced or not. Okay. So we're going to find out. Just pay special attention if you have washers and things fall out. In fact, I'll take and put this upside down right here. And that will help us in case a bunch of washers pop out. And there will be a few, I'm guessing. Okay, so this has the bolt, and then there's a washer. So I'm going to lay that down, okay, in this spot. And then on this side, I'm going to pull. You can see the bearing in there. I'm just going to pull straight out. Nothing happened. Now I'm going to come to this side, and I'm going to try to pull this out. Okay, so it's pulling out, but it's got a lot of pressure on it. I'm having to put a ton of pressure on it, so I'm wondering if it's bent. I hope it's not broken. Okay, so now that that's pulled out, we can leave that right where it is, and we can set this down. You can see the bearing assembly looks fine, and I just dropped that thing. That's what I was trying to avoid, folks. You see that brass? This is cupped one way, and it's got a lip one way. You see that lip? That is supposed to go on the bearing there, I believe. And now what I'm trying to do is I'm looking at the other one, studying it. Yep, that should be on the face with the lip going toward the bearing, okay?
Okay.
So what I want to do is just let that fall. I know how it goes now. Then this thing is going to come out. That spaces it in the center. And there's just a little bit of debris in there, probably from our crash. You know, just a little bit of wear and tear. These things feel like they're rubber. They are. Okay, so I'm going to go in here very gently. Just use a tool to pry that out. Okay, so now that that's out, that's a rubber piece. Now we have the broken component. So we can lay that down, keep it in close proximity so you can make it easy to find how all this crap goes back together. So now this shaft would be allowed to go in and bite this shaft. How do we ensure that this is straight? First of all, you can tell it's straight because as I spin it, I don't see any walk. But the even better way to do it would be to press this out. So because I don't want to press that out, I'm going to actually slide this off. I'm going to put this into the new assembly. Okay, press that so it's got the face flat. Okay, and then you can see now we've got access to this thing. This thing is that thing. So what do you say? Just put a new one on?
How do you get it out of that other piece? Just have to take that nut out.
That bolt. That bolt.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think you take that bolt out and then that would come off. But that's going to be challenging without having the other half of the equation in. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to spin it. And I'm spinning so that I can see if there's any movement or walk. So I've got it supported between my fingers. And I am looking for walk, but I can tell you there's no walk on it.
Okay.
If there was, you would be able to see it, okay? So I'm happy with that. I'm comfortable with the way that we're leaving things with that. So I'm going to slide that back through. Now you might need to lubricate this a little bit to get the shafts to go through the rubber. It is rather difficult to press them in. Okay, once you're started. Now remember, make sure that your little bushing is in there, that little brass bushing. Okay, now I'm coming through the second rubber now. I'm going to press down on the countertop until it's snug. Okay. Then I'm going to take this and I'm going to slide it on the same way that it came off from the other side. You can tell how it goes because it goes like that. Now, why do I know it goes that way? Only from looking at the other side. I did not look at the exploded view diagram. Now I'm going to put this back on and then make sure we don't have anything pop off the other side. Nothing's popped off the other side, so we should be good to go. Then this is where you want to make sure you've got that washer installed, because I need to reassemble this. So in order to reassemble it, I need to take my 2mm drive, whether it be the German one or the Chinese one, doesn't really matter. I'm gonna slide this in here and I'm gonna start turning. Make sure that you're not cross-threading, obviously, and then get this in there. Now, this is metal on metal, so if you decide to use Loctite or whatever, that's between you and God, okay? I'm sure the instruction manual probably gives you some input. Now look at this. It's spinning the other side as expected. So it looks like that side was just the looser of the two, so it came off first. So now when you torque these, you're torquing both sides, just to be clear. So I'm comfortable with how tight that is. And now we can put the blades back on, because this will eventually go back on top. Or you could wait and do the blades later. Now, if in doubt, you could set this in, and that would help you figure out what direction they go. And then you could put that nut on there so that it's very easy not to lose the components, okay? So my suggestion is do the things that it takes to keep order and reason as you take apart your equipment, especially if you're doing it at the field on one 2x4 plank worth of picnic table. Okay, it's kind of a joke. All right, so this now is broken, so we can put that out of the way.
Okay.
Now, what's our next component? Obviously, we could put the blades on. It'd be quite easy. We have linkages that will have to eventually be installed here and adjusted. That's going to suck. I'm not looking forward to that. Also, I just want to make sure that I have this centered and there's not like a lot of slop or play, which I don't feel. Feels like this one is just a little bit more resistance than this side. I'm not sure why. I'm gonna see if I can torque this down just a wee bit more. That didn't seem to have any impact. And just double check I'm not loose. Oh yeah, I mean, they're tight as I could get them.
Okay.
Okay, so that's fine. Just feels like maybe this bearing is just a little bit better than this bearing. It's funny because like a loose bearing is usually a bad bearing. This one is also loose, but this one feels like it's got less resistance. It seems like if you had resistance, it'd be bad. It'd be symptomatic of bad, but typically when they're packed tight with grease, that's when they're in good shape. All right, so that means that we probably didn't need this, okay? And that's good because that and that are the two screws that sandwich all that assembly together. So we lucked out, that was not needed. I would rather order it for 10 bucks or whatever it was and have it than need it and not have it, right? I don't want to stop an entire build. Okay, so now let's open this. This is gonna be the part that sucks, folks, because we got to get all the way down in there, and then later we're gonna have to build these. I think this is what we need, but I am not 100% sure. And you can tell those are the long ones. So it looks like that is probably what was supposed to go on there. The only way I would know for sure is if I took this all apart, which we could technically at some point take that apart.
We could also compare it to the gray version.
Yeah, or we could look at the exploded view diagram, okay? So I'm gonna undo this right now. I'm not gonna fully assemble it. I'm just gonna undo it so that we can understand better, okay? There is one of those bushings in there. See that brass bushing?
Yep.
Don't lose that son of a gun, okay? So I'm gonna just let that down. Let this very carefully down. Then I'm gonna undo this side. So here on Brian Phillips RC, we like to show start to finish projects and all the steps in the middle, not because we're trying to be obnoxious, but at the end of the day, we know a lot of people need help. We wanna help as much as possible. The way we help is by showing the entire process, start to finish, rather than just taunting you with details that leave you wanting, okay? We see a lot of that on YouTube, and it's very frustrating for a lot of people that need the help. Okay, so that bushing is still on there. Then I can undo this. Now this, I don't know if I can undo it without getting some sort of a nut something to hold the nut. So I think this is probably a 4mm. Oh yeah, it was. I got lucky. Okay, so undoing the nut. I'm just gonna hold my right hand still and use my left hand to spin the bolt out because the bolt needs to leave the shaft, and then of course the nut will free automatically. And then once we get this to a point where we can take it off, we're gonna slide the new one on as a comparison or a basis of comparison. Okay, so that bolt is out now. We're gonna slide up if it'll let us. Yep, it did. Okay, now look, we've got some debris in there. See that debris? Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, probably from the crash. Okay, so now we're gonna put the new one on. We're not gonna put it on because this shaft is bent, but we're gonna put it on in the sense that we need to see. By the way, another trick of the day, slide this assembly back together so that you can, if you're gonna keep components, it's always better to keep the components with their matching counterparts, okay? And the reason that you might consider doing that is because when you go to steal parts from your death bin or your box of dead airplanes or helicopters, whatever it is you do, I keep a box, it's a big box of crash stuff. You won't have to wonder where it is, okay? Now the other thing you could do if you're really careful about it is you could put those back into the box or the packaging from the crashed component, okay? So this, now I gotta take this bolt out. We're gonna have to have it out to actually do the assembly when we get to that point. So there's the nut loose and there's the bolt loose. Now that bolt is a pass-through bolt. So it's either gonna be, whoops. Oh, look at that. I didn't realize that was two different parts.
Oh.
It's two different parts. Okay, so this needs to go right there. See? Then that's gonna align everything. So this is gonna go down like that, line up right there. And then this is gonna pin through. Now again, we're not fully assembling this. We're just doing this as a test. So we could even put like a paper clip through if we wanted or something even easier than the bolt. But now that that bolt's in there, we can see kind of how things line up. So that's definitely gonna work fine.
Okay.
Now, is it gonna matter which way we put this? I don't think so. It seems like it's ambidextrous. Yeah, you say it.
You were right, ambidextrous.
I always screw that up. Or I feel like I screwed up. Okay. So once we get that through, or once we get our new shaft out, prop shaft out, we can assemble that in total. Okay, so we have the nut loose, and then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna lay this in position. We already know what position it should be in, or what we expect it to be in, but then this will at least get us back to where we wanna be. Now that's why I didn't mount the props, or the main rotor, because it's just gonna be in the way, basically.
Right.
Now the other thing is, oh shoot, we were gonna see if these were the right length. That was the whole point of that, I'm sorry. So let's say that's there. How long are these gonna be? What do you think, just open them?
Yeah, you can maybe try and open them kind of carefully so that if, yeah.
So, yeah, I get what you're saying. Okay, so we'll see if this, first of all, these should all snap onto all the different ball links. So if we put that on there, because these were just lost in the crash. Is that the right height? I'm sorry, guys, I forgot the reason for that. I was checking to see the length of those. Okay. So now we can put this back down. Oops. Slide this up. Find the hole. Wiggle up and down and spin until it goes through. It's through. So now as you can see, that would definitely snap on if you wanted, and it would potentially control your heli.
So that seems about right, right?
Well, it kind of does, because this will be attached here, okay? So if that's attached there, this will reach around it just fine. Now, let's compare and contrast to the old one, or the older, newer version. This is the Coast Guard version. Looks pretty darn similar to me.
Yeah, it does.
Okay, so the only thing that might be different is just shaft thickness. I am not 100% sure that the shaft is the same thickness. So we're gonna grab some micrometers. For those of you that don't have micrometers in your kitchen, the question I have for you is why not?
Because they love their wife.
1.39 millimeters. And we'll just double check this. Thank you for getting in the way, helicopter. Okay, I'll go down here and do it. 1.45, that's probably just me not being very good at measuring this. 1.4, okay. 1.39 compared to 1.4, it's good enough for me.
Yeah, I would say so.
We're not building a nuclear reactor here. We're putting together a little heli. So at the end of the day, here on Brian Phillips RC, we want to see it through to its fruition, all these projects we do, okay? If I lead you into a circumstance where you crash your helicopter as a result of my poor decision making, then we're going to try to help you as much as we can to get you back to whole, okay? But I can't fix it for you, so we figured this video series of repairs, what are we calling it? Brian Phillips Repairs?
Yes.
Yeah, something like that. Now, I am going to leave that on there because there's not really anything stopping us from having it on there, is there?
Not unless you have to take off that whole, well, it's going to go in that same spot. No
if we're
matter
taking
what.
it off, we're going to take the whole thing off anyway. Because remember, the more we get mounted, the less we have to wonder about later, okay?
Right.
And most of this hardware has to do with putting the body back together.
Right.
So why don't we just put the body back in here, okay? And then this can just be slid out of the way for now, okay? So we're just cruising along, and just like building a complicated plane or a plane with like a million steps, just work one step at a time. Because how do you eat an elephant?
All at once.
No.
Where does that nut go that you left on the paper?
This nut goes on this assembly that we're about to take off.
Okay.
How do you eat an elephant?
One bite at a time.
Thank you. And so that means you just gotta kind of start somewhere and go, okay? So then I'm gonna put this nut back on, and then we're gonna lay that right there so that we can keep track of the order that parts go on, okay? So now that we have this Kama Sutra happening, we are going to go ahead and try to take that out. Now, it'd be awesome if I could just undo this whole thing, and that'd be really nice and not have to disassemble all that crap. I do not know if that's possible. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna cut this package open right now. And there are two of them in here, so I'm gonna kind of do the same thing I did on the last one, which is to be kind of a little bit careful because we don't need all the hardware, we just need some of it, okay? Look at that. That must be how they balance the shaft, I wonder. See that?
Mm-hmm. That is strange.
That is weird. Yeah, that goes right there. That goes right there.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm wondering if we can just pull the whole shaft out. That'd be awesome if we could. Oh man, that would make my day. Rather than taking this thing in half, are you kidding? That'd be so
please.
nice. Okay, so let's see if we can get away with that. That'd be awesome. And that's gonna require taking that one screw out, okay? Now, how do we know this part is bad, camera crew?
Because it walks when you spin it.
It wobbles a lot. And it's not like, it's not ambiguous in any way, this one isn't. Okay, so the 4mm nut is not a 4mm nut now, so I'll put that back into my set. And then I go to 5.5mm, which seems to be kind of the next size. Ooh, I can see better through the back here. Maybe it was a 4mm. So you guys see how I'm just looking into the tail here? This works pretty good. Oh, good, got it, okay. So remember, serviceability is usually customary on a good piece of engineered equipment, and that's why every modern car is near impossible to work on. I mean, unless you work at the shop, and if you work at the shop, you have access to billable hours, which is one of the most important tools while fixing something complicated. Ask me how I know. All right.
Do I get billable hours?
You see there's a bolt and a nut and a bolt and a nut, because that is the bolt and the nut that we took out. We don't need those, so
that.
we can actually lay this aside. This is a good component. We can continue to use that, okay? We have consumed this and they disappeared, so we're done with it.
Okay.
Okay? All right, so this would go up. Now, there are gonna be times in an assembly where I don't remember stuff. Sure, you could look it up. Sure, you could find the exploded view diagram, but you know what's even easier than that?
How do you know that goes up? I mean, besides just looking at it, but is that all you did?
Because this is longer on the bottom and shorter on the top.
Okay.
Okay, that's how I know. So I'm gonna take and mark this somewhere on the shaft. I'm gonna put a little up arrow, up. Now, if you make an arrow and you don't label your arrow, don't complain that your arrow is ambiguous, okay? Because I know there's been many systems that I've opened and I've been like, what the heck does that arrow mean? Does it mean up?
Down?
Or left? Or does
Yeah.
it mean to where the junction box was or the electronics were? Nobody knows except for you. All right, so now I'm hoping I can pull this right out. That'd be, oh man, that'd make me so happy. I do not know that this is gonna work, but boy, oh boy, that, oh, do you wanna know how happy I am? So that means all I have to do is undo this. And for that, we're gonna use a tool called a ball link pliers. Full disclosure, my ball link pliers are a little bit thick on the head right here, and these are extra Chinese crappy. One of our longtime viewers and subscribers sent these as a gift for us.
We have two pairs, but they both have the same
No,
issue.
the other pair has thinner head.
Oh, it does.
But you see this, how it doesn't quite close all the way on that side, and on this side it does? I think that's part of the problem. And so I just wonder if I went in here and just bit that. You see how it closes nicely now? I think what's going on is it's just so crappy and cheap, which is okay. Crappy and cheap tools are fine for some things, and other things, they just turn into a nightmare, okay? These ones, I need to just take them and take it to a grinding wheel and just grind, and make it work better, because that gap makes a lot of problems for me. See how it's bent? Mm-hmm. I'm gonna just take and twist this, because I'm strong enough I can actually just twist it, I think. Okay. Nope, I need more. Why does this matter? Because here on Brian Phillips RC, we show the entire process. Like I said, it's not just to be obnoxious or to make life difficult. We want to teach you not only how we did it, but why we did it. And why we were pissed off that it took 400 steps to put the Spitfire together. I'm sorry. Okay, now press this right here. Oh, so happy. Okay, so now I got to undo this one. Now, this is going to be one of those times where you'll think it's going to be really hard to put back together, but this is going to keep you lined up, because there's only one way to do it, okay? So feed this in. Do the same thing. I want to go vertical on this one. It'll make it work better. I'm going to let this fall down like that. And same thing here. I can go around from this side and pop that linkage off. Okay. These are probably a little bit too big for this model. Okay. Now, you could just bend that. Yep, that's what I did. Now I'm going to lay this very carefully down and just kind of keep things in the same general position. Otherwise, you might run into other problems. I'm just making sure there's no giant Mars on this ball system here. Now, when this pulls out, it's going to drop the main gear out, but that's good because we need it. Okay, I hope. Now, look very carefully. Look what's up on top of here. There's a bushing.
Oh.
So that shaft is bent. This shaft is not. There's two bushings.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, and that's why you do that stuff right away. Because if you drop them, good luck figuring out which one's which, okay? Helicopters have a lot of really small things like that. There's 2 of them there.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
That definitely goes on top, and that helps to create a gap and reduce friction up against that bearing, okay? All right, so now this one was bent. Let's see if we can see it. Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. Now, if you were really like on a desert island, could you straighten this? If you can straighten this, you're better than me. Oh, there's another bushing.
Oh, geez.
There's a third one. Crap. So that means I need to pull those 2 off.
Yep.
Goodness gracious. I have guns that are a lot less complicated than this. Look at that. Okay, so we're going to slide that on. Slide it up. Then take these 2. So now there's a total of 3. See that? There's 3. Okay. Slide them up. Now, this one's the bent one, so it's bad. And I'm just going to make sure that there's not like an excessive amount of lube or anything on there. There's a little bit of lube on it, just so you guys know. I'm transferring some of the lube. It's a very small amount. And so I'm going to just like quite literally put it on my hands and then transfer that tiny, teensy little bit of lube to this shaft. Because that's going to lubricate it, believe it or not. I mean, it doesn't seem like it, but it will. If you guys want to do it a different way, that's fine. Like if you want to go buy lubricant and put it on there, you can do that too.
Nice, some like olive oil you can use.
That would probably be fine, except it would stink after it went rancid. I'm just double checking I don't see another, and I don't.
Okay.
Okay, all right, so we can lay that over here in the broken components. Now we got to figure out this gear. This gear should pop out if I push, and it is. Yep, it's just going out the side. Now I am keeping a very close eye for the things that I was concerned might happen, and that would be bushings. I'm hitting an edge, a lip on that side, so I want to see, maybe I can get lucky and do this another way. Maybe I can rock it. There, I got the top out. Okay, so now it just falls out. Now, again, up and down matter, potentially. So how do we ensure that we have this correct? We're gonna be smart fellers instead of fart smellers. We're gonna mark it. Up. Okay, up. All right. How come you didn't know that?
I did know that.
Oh, you just
You're just the one that gets to say it.
Oh, you didn't want to say it. 1.5 millimeters. Okay, so we're going to unscrew this. There's 1. Here's 2. So folks, this made my day, the fact that this came out. The camera crew said this would be a 3-hour video. How much ahead of our budget for 3 hours are we?
Well, you're 42 minutes in, so it means you have like 20 minutes before we're out of juice.
But I just wanted to remind you.
You're not done yet.
Oh, son of a gun. Good thing I barked that.
No kidding.
Okay, so this one's obviously the bad one. You can see we already tried to kind of clean it up a little bit. Now, if you took this off and you took a wire brush to it, and or a plastic brush, you could probably clean that up to where this helicopter would fly again. But we're gonna fix it right for once. I say for once because like I never buy parts, guys. This is very unusual. And this was okay. Here's the thing. If you're flying helicopters and you expect to never need parts, then just don't fly helicopters because you will crash them and you will eventually want to fix one, okay? This is a nice helicopter. It's worth fixing, okay? Which way's up? I'm so confused. Oh, that's the way that's up. So then this goes in like that? Yeah, it sure does.
Does the gear go both ways? Either way?
No, it will only fit one way.
One way, okay.
And then if you look right here, that's a flat and that's a flat. So it's gonna go like that. And then that's gonna receive more threads, okay? If you were to try going the other way, it would sit all wonkadelic. Okay. Now you could probably make it make it sit there, but that's not the way it's supposed to go.
Right.
It's supposed to go this way. Now, let's say that we didn't know. Let's come back over to exploded view diagram, okay? Actually, we'll pause and, okay, sorry, it went to sleep. Like most of you. Okay, so you can look at this drawing and you can see the screws go down from the top. Why do they show it that way? They're showing it backward. Ugh, so annoying. But they are showing the recess and they're showing one of these protruding down, okay? Why did they show that underneath like that? That's so dumb. It's not the way it goes. Now you can tell how it goes because, you know, I marked it. So between the drawings and the markings, we know we're gonna get it right, okay? So now I just need to line this up with the 4 holes. It is an even pattern, so it should be pretty straightforward stuff. And then drop one of the screws in. So folks, here on Brian Phillips RC, we really do care about the RC community and we want you to have a great experience. That's why we try to talk you out of buying certain things. But obviously, I really like this Blade 360 and I like it actually a little bit better in the Coast Guard version because it's easier to see. The other one is beautiful, but it's a little bit harder to see because it's dark, okay? That's why we're fixing this. Now, could we have just let it be dead? Sure, but that would have been dumb, especially if you can fix it for like a third the cost of a new one. And then you can have a bunch of spare parts
You're
here.
still going to have more
and
spare
we bought
parts.
more stuff than we needed.
Right.
You know, full disclosure, we were just trying to cover our bases.
And really, what are you typically going to break? The gear, the main shaft, so you already have another set of replacements for probably your most commonly.
Yeah. Well, and admittedly, you're probably going to break the blades
yeah.
if you're going to break something. But I've crashed helicopters and taken and flown them back home. It's very unusual that it happens that way. I've also crashed helicopters and made them complete losses too.
Yes.
Okay, so now torque, 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 torque for even torque. Okay, I did not note any bushings that fell off of the top or the bottom. So we're just gonna slide this back in the same way it came. At a bit of an angle, slipping it in from the side here until such a time as I can rock it to make it sit on top of the bearing. And now I've engaged my gear set. Now I'm gonna take my new prop or new main shaft. I'm gonna slide it through this. Okay, so this is not the bent one, this is the new one. Let that drop down. Oops, did that wrong. This goes on top. I wouldn't have had to drop that on first, but I guess I did. Okay. Then we're gonna drop this down. I'm gonna pull this out of the way just a little bit and drop it in. Okay, and then we're just gonna let that hover. Why are we hovering it? Because I wanna get these things intact as soon as possible to avoid confusion by yours truly, but I need to line this up. So I'm gonna line this up so that the shaft can drop down. Okay, it's dropped down. Now look what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna drop this until it hits on the plate, and then look what I'm doing. I'm spinning until I can see a hole. I can now see a hole. So now I'm gonna take, while I can see the hole, try to drop it so it doesn't like screw everything up. Go to the 1.5 millimeter drive. I can still see my hole there, and I'm gonna feed this in. Sometimes you gotta spin it until alignment, perfect alignment gets made. And now that I'm perfectly aligned, I should be able to just press it, but I'm gonna spin it because it just seems to be working really good. Now I can take my broken gear and I can lay this over in a pile of deado parts. Now I'm gonna take this, a 4 millimeter nut driver, and I can spin this fuse around, or helicopter body. I don't know if it's called a fuselage, I think. It's actually the interior guts. Spin that till the nut aligns with the bolts, get the threads going, and then that can be torqued down nicely because it is just an eye lock. Nothing real fancy about that. All right, now we're gonna take this, we're gonna flip it around. We're gonna snap it onto here, just with our thumb this time. Okay, very nice. Then I'm gonna take this one. I'm gonna snap it on with my thumb. Why my thumb, camera crew?
Because it's there.
Yes, it's built into my human flesh. But beyond that, it's because I want to control how snappy it is when it penetrates.
Pressure.
Yep, because if I press too hard, I might knock all the rest of this crap off.
Oh, yeah.
So this is going to go back together pretty quick now. As you can see, it's really starting to take shape, and that's exciting. But it's also reassuring that we're going to have this helicopter back in one piece pretty quick here. Okay, so now we'll slide this back down on there. But we have to start by taking this bolt and nut off again for like the 5th time. I'm so glad we didn't have to just imagine if we would have pulled those halves apart.
I know. I totally thought we were going to have to do that.
I'd have been so pissed. Lay that down. Slide this over the shaft. We can actually spin the gear set until we get that hole aligned to make it easy on us. Get those 2 holes lined up. Bring it down to about where it needs to sit. From about where it needs to sit, we can just slide the shaft in until we feel just a little bit of penetration and then cram it all the way through. Isn't that normally how we do that?
Yeah.
Okay. So then we're going to take the 4mm nut driver, slide that nut in. I'm going to spin the body of the helicopter just to make it easier. I could probably spin the motor, but I'm just spin the body. And I'm going to let this find its home. Now this is set up and down, but I have to have this torqued down before I can actually get this rest of the hardware in. So I'm going to go until it's pretty tight and I see a bite onto the shaft. See that? Closing right there. Show them. Okay, very good. So that's torqued down. So now we can spin this. I'm really impressed with how easy this has been. I was dreading this project, thinking it was going to be a pain in the balls, and it's actually not been really too bad at all. I'm very surprised. Okay, so I can get that lined up, grab my 1.5, hold it from the far side, get that started. Now I don't want to over torque this and make it so that it can't move up and down free. There are some bearings in there, but I just want to make sure that it is still free to move. So we'll have to test that after a minute here. So same thing here. Find the opening that it should line up with. Get it a half turn. So it's started. Okay. So you see this now? Same thing here. I don't want to over tighten it to the point where it binds the bushing and then binds the bearing. I don't think you can, but I am not 100% sure of that. Okay, so now I can kind of move the swash to a sort of pseudo level position by centering the servos. I don't like doing that to servos, by the way. I only do that if I kind of have to, and I just don't want to power this up while it's all disassembled, okay? So now these ones, we are not going to be able to level that until it's turned on. Once it's turned on, then we're going to have to set the pitch to neutral in one of the advanced modes with the throttle hold on, okay? We could probably also go into forward programming and do that as well, but for now, we're just going to leave them loose, okay? We're going to eventually have to have the blades on, but why don't we do that at the end? Because we're not gaining anything by doing that later, are we?
Right, I think.
Well, except I could probably twist these a lot easier now than I could later. So let's pop those carefully off and let's hold these and twist them. There's one half, there's one. I'm just working them back and forth just a hair to make sure that we can make an adjustment. I wish there was a hexagonal bite point there we could hold on to, or a flat that was machined, because then you could get in there with a pair of needle nose and brace this in order to move the up or the down. But I'm just going to work those a couple of times, work those a couple of times, work those a couple of times. And the reason I'm doing that is so that I can make the adjustments that are ultimately going to be necessary. Okay. So, like I said, at some point we're going to have to get the radio system turned on and bring the collective to a level and make sure we have no pitch or roll from the cyclic, and then we can get everything squared and leveled. Okay. Because if it's not, then we'll have to go through an even more tedious task of doing some sort of calibration process. I do not want to do that.
Oh, yeah, no.
Okay, so I'm going to hold this shaft. I'm going to go a little bit deeper to where it's not got the texture and see if I can get a hold of it. I can. Beautiful. Work them. Now you can only do that if you have a death grip, which I do.
So I can't do that.
Probably not. You want to try?
No, because I'm sure I can't.
Okay. All right, so now I can slide that back on. I don't, you see how this is just a little bit offset? I don't know if that's actually supposed to be offset or if it's just in my head.
Oh.
What do you think?
I don't know.
I don't know if it matters, but I'm going to check this one. Yep, I did it the same way on this one. Okay, so give them an extreme close-up. See how that is kind of favoring to your inboard portion, and then this extra is favoring the outboard. That's the way I chose to do it.
Okay.
I fear that if you had more of the body inside, you might bind one of these moving parts, okay? Bind meaning rub. Okay. All right, so now we need to actually reassemble this. We're gonna pause, I'm gonna clean my hands, wipe this counter, and come right back. All right, so we were just talking off camera, and I was like, I don't know how long it's gonna take.
Me either.
Okay, so real quick, we'll just make sure we don't have anything obvious bad going on here. So I want those leads to be able to hook up. And we do eventually need to put the landing gear on, but I have to get the body in. Oh, I left the body over there. I made a good pile and a dead pile.
Okay.
Now, you could probably do some of this from outside, and you know what? You're gonna have to.
We are.
You know why?
Why?
Because you're not going to be able to get to these leakages.
If we have to adjust those.
Yep. So in that case, we're going to turn on our transmitter. We're going to load the battery. Should be a pretty standard operating procedure. Full disclosure, I already selected the helicopter earlier because I knew we were getting ready to start this, even though the box was on the steps, unmarked without labels for packaging.
Right. Yes.
Yeah.
Just teleported here.
Teleported. It did actually get shipped here. We just always delabel stuff. De-sticker. If the internet wasn't full of weirdos that love RC, we wouldn't have to do that.
No. Except our daughter loves delabeling things anyway, so.
Yeah, she's a little obsessive compulsive like that. I wonder where she gets that from.
I don't know.
Obviously.
Yeah, right. Definitely.
Okay, so throttle hold is on, stick is down. Remember, we have to go into expert to get it to go to a level swash. Okay, let's just assume this is level, and it is basically level, okay? So now we can lean it forward, lean it backward, but we're in beginner mode, okay? Throttle holds on. If this were to start, I wanna make sure my leads aren't touching each other. They're not, and they're all separated from each other for the tail rotor. Wait, which? Does the hold prevent it from going into the advanced mode? See that? Mm-hmm. Shouldn't it snap to the middle? If I go to the center of the sticks there, I can click over to the middle. See the pitch? I want to set that to exactly 0. And then I want to make sure these are zeroed, okay? Now, how am I going to tell if this pitch is at 0? That pitch and that roll, I need to set only this, only the pitch, right? Oh wait, is that the roll? Those adapters are what I need to change, right?
Yes.
Just these. These are the ones that were lost in the crash.
Correct.
Now, if I would have found them, I could just snap them back on, and then hypothetically, if I got the left on the left and the right on the right, I'd be good. Well, unfortunately, we didn't get that lucky.
We don't know.
Okay. So let's just, we know the throttle hold's gonna work. That's the only way we can do it, okay? So we have to install the blades.
Okay.
Okay. So remember, there's a nut retainer in here, and we need a 2.5 millimeter So 2.5 millimeter. So it should be pretty easy to do this because you're basically just putting it into yoke, I think. So what is this? It's called a yoke, you suppose? I don't know what this thing's called.
Like the retainer part?
No, I'm just saying that thing that holds onto the blade. I don't know what a lot of these helicopter components are called, actually. I feel bad about it because, you know, I know a lot about helicopters. I just don't know what they're called.
Well, we have.
Leave it in the comments,
guys. A lot of things.
Whatever.
I didn't have to look up that part, so I don't know what
just
it's
listen.
called.
I have fixed a million helicopters, but it was
Actually,
way before we did.
This.
Way before we did the YouTube channel.
Yeah, you fix that thing all the time.
The CP1.
Yep, and rarely ever actually flew it.
I know. It was so hard to learn to fly. Okay, so now I'm tightening this to the point where it's tight, and then I'm loosening it a little bit. That's too much. That's pretty good. That's probably about where I want it. Okay, I want them to flop out of the way, but I don't want them to just like flop everywhere. That's pretty good. There's a certain amount of, in my experience on helis, there's a certain amount of feel to certain stuff. And I wish I could tell you that there was some distinct like torque rating, but my experience has been that some people have told me you want to be able to shake the helicopter and have the blades fall free, okay? So I will show you that after a minute here. 2.5 millimeter drive again, just running it down to where I can load this nut into this little holder thingy. Get that started. See how it's spinning? So if it's spinning, just push it and then you can get it locked into one set. One set of sides.
One set of sides.
It's going to be all the sides at once.
Yes.
Okay. So obviously one is too tight and one is loose, or one is about right. That one's about right. This one's way too tight. Okay. So the way I'm going to tell is I'm going to go in here and just break it free. I'm going to hold this assembly. Yeah, way too tight. Still probably a little bit. That's getting pretty close. That's getting pretty dang close. This one's actually looser than that one. I'm gonna go just torque down just a hair. Oh yeah. It feels really even now, which is what you want. Okay, so then when it spools up, it's gonna swing the blades out with centripetal force. Okay, so now the other thing is, obviously I have throttle hold on, very critical. That lean forward, lean back, lean right, and lean left. I wanna make sure I'm neutral, and then I wanna make sure that my collective goes up and goes down, goes up and then goes down. So when I am at pitch in the center, okay, so there's 0 degrees on the pitch. I'm in expert mode, okay? Expert mode should put that blade right in the center. So I should be at like 0 degrees. How do we know we're at 0 degrees?
We have to use that thing that the batteries will be dead in.
Almost certainly. Okay, so let's see. Are the batteries dead? On, off. Ha-ha!
No, they're not.
Okay, so let's see what our off. Okay, so we're at 7 degrees, so I'm gonna 0 it because we're on this counter, okay? Then I'm gonna open this thing up, slide it onto the blade. Okay, so now, as you can see, when I go up and down with my pitch, it's gonna change the degrees. So now I'm going to center, so there's 0 degrees, and we're at 2.3. Okay, now let's see what the other one's at. I'm sure it's going to be different because these were just straight out of the package. Okay. Go down about halfway, 2.6 degrees. So now how do we adjust that, camera crew?
I have no idea.
We're going to pop this thing off right here.
Oh, and just spin it till it goes to the right spot.
Yep.
Okay.
That's the theory at least. And by the way, this is too big for this particular setup. So I'm going to see if I can go in with the smaller side and just pop them off that way. Might be able to. Yep, I got it. Okay, so now if I'm at 0 degrees, what was I at?
You were at negative 2.6 on this side.
2.6? Okay, so I want to get it to close to 0. So that means I need to lengthen this rod. Okay, in order to lengthen this rod, I'm going to hold this shaft and then I'm going to turn out half a turn. And then I'm gonna let go of this shaft and then I'm gonna try to turn out half. Oops. Yep, there you go. See, I need to turn both ends.
Right, so that you're not taking all from one side.
Yep, so there's 1/2, there's one. Okay, so there's one turn on both sides. Why do I care? Because I want to kind of make it even. It looks like this one here needs to go another 1/2. Whoops. Really holding it tight, and there we go. So you see we got the thicker body and the thicker body on the outside. So that was a total of like 1.5 and 1.
Yeah,
okay?
I think so.
All right, folks, and that's what we're gonna do until we've got it right. And I'm trying to do this without snapping. I'm gonna have to snap it. Holy crap, that was like pure luck.
Okay.
Okay, all right, I'll rather be lucky than good.
Yep.
Now flip it to this blade, open it up.
So you're gonna do similar
Slide
on
it
that
back.
side.
I'm gonna get it to 0.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because you're at -2.3 on that side.
-2.3. Okay,
Yep.
so I need to lengthen it again. So I'm gonna hang on to the shaft, and I'm gonna go down 1/2, down 1/2, out 1/2, out 1/2. So that's about what we did last time.
Yeah.
So we'll see if that's enough. Okay. Okay. All right. So now we're at. Okay. So.
0.3, -0.3. But if
Yeah. Let's pop it off and
just see what happens.
Let's see what happens if I go 1/2. Because I'm so far away from everything out here, I think it's going to be fine. If we were in close proximity to a bunch of other crap like we are down here, I'd be more concerned about that body being backward, okay? So that should get us really close to 0. Ooh, we overshot.
Yeah. No. Oh, yes.
Yes, we did.
Yep.
We overshot by a factor of more than what we had.
Yes.
So that means that the best we can do is the best we can do. So pop this off, okay? Now I want to take and turn this one back in.
Yes.
So that's back in 1/2. Okay. So then we'll snap this back in. All right, so now keep in mind, it's easier to do this when you balance it on its body like that. Okay, so we're at 0.4 negative. So as you can see, we're gonna have to split the difference because you only get 1/2 turn adjustments.
Yep.
Okay. So now, again, the other thing is once we're done, we'll have to test fly it and make sure the thing like flies worth a crap. Okay, so getting that pulled straight out to -0.2. I don't think we're gonna get it any better on this setup. But there is another way you can do it. And that is now that we have it mechanically close, we can, first of all, we can click and we go down to forward programming. And I think you can center it in here. Swash plate, pitch, roll. So I'm worried about roll, right? Yeah, I'm worried about roll because that's what popped off. So roll. Oh, dang it there. No, that's not where I want. Setup, swash plate, output setup, sub trim, baby. Okay, look at this. So now, if we're at neutral, see, look, it doesn't even move now. Now we're stuck at 0, you see? So output channel 3, it's -37. Okay, so that didn't change anything. So that's obviously not the one we care about. So output to 80. See how it's changing? Now it's 0. I'm gonna go back to 80. Now it's back to 0. Okay, so let's just go with maybe it's fine. Now I'm gonna spin this around and I'm gonna go back on here, okay? So that's -0.5, okay? Now keep in mind the swash plate, if you change the position, see that's -0.04? Okay, now watch this. I'm gonna spin this around. -0.1. That could be positionally on this table. I don't know if we even are gonna screw with it. I think we're gonna leave it. Now look at this. Look, now we're back. Now we're back to where we can move the stick to the center and we can get things centered, okay? For the plus and minus, okay? So that's pretty sweet. So I'm gonna just leave it where it is. We're gonna throttle cut, we're gonna walk out, we're gonna walk out, we're gonna walk out, we're gonna walk out. Okay, now there is a procedure for trimming this helicopter, but I just wanted to make sure we were mechanically sound before I go to put everything back together.
Okay.
Because I don't know how else you would do it. Okay, and you can
Right.
see it's very challenging. Is this in our tools, hon?
Yes, I think so.
If it's not, it's going to be on bprc.me /supplies. Okay, so now we can unplug the battery, we can fire off the transmitter, we don't need that on for this test, and now we're going to put this back into the body. Okay,
We have about 5 minutes to do that.
all right, so back into the body. Should be relatively easy. I'm just going to make sure these wires are kind of more or less in this channel down here. There is a channel. If you see the channel, that's what we're aiming for. Now, are you going to be able to guarantee that they're all in the channel once you start pushing that rod in there? I don't know how you would, but I'm going to still try my best. You see what I did? I pulled them into the channel, but then obviously you're going to have to slack it so that it can relax. Okay? So then I'm going to take this thing and I'm going to slide it back in very carefully. And you see those wires? Okay, so I'm just kind of binding on the cables a little bit, I think. Remember, we had to bend this just a little bit. So I'm going to bend this just a little bit. Oh, man. That's awkward still.
You're pulling your cables back.
That's what I just was thinking about. So now I need to take these cables and just yank them. Yeah, I'm going to pull this back out. Okay. You guys see what's going on? Look, I pulled my cables up. Okay. So we got to be real careful because these are silicone coated cables.
I might have to like hold those down while
Yeah,
you...
I think that's a good idea. I'm going to have to hold those down while I do this. Okay. That is a very good call, camera crew. Okay. So now I'm going to slide this back in the hole. Might be nice to get a second set of hands on a job like this because you don't want to cut those cables either.
Right.
Okay, so if I, look what I'm doing, guys. I'm bending this open just a little bit. Grab those cables. Might as well hold them.
Yep.
Okay.
I'm just pulling them down, right?
Yep.
Okay.
So I'm doing this so that I can go straight in instead of in at an angle. Okay, and I want to make sure all these cables are down to where I can get to them.
Man, you're really... It's going to push on those
I
cables.
know, you're going to have to let them through a little bit.
Okay.
Let them through a little bit. There you go.
Okay.
And then once I'm past a certain point, I just don't want it to break free or cut the cables.
Right.
Okay. There goes. There goes.
There it's going. Yep.
Oop. I have to pull back just a little bit on the cables. Then I'm going to pick back up. I could pull one at a time. That might make it a little easier on everything. Nope. I got to pull this back, and then I need to pull these cables back. Ooh, it's a little bit awkward, guys.
Yeah, it is.
A little bit more awkward than I was hoping it might be. Because the thing is, like, there's only so much you can do. You're inside of a shaft,
right?
You know, like you can't control all those details. We could lubricate it more. We could do like some Dawn dish
with
detergent.
Some soap.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be out in a second.
I'd really like to get this all the way in. See, it's pulling them. Mm-hmm. I think we're gonna have to do something about that, guys. We'll have to lubricate this. Okay, so you guys see the problem is, look down there. Those wires are gonna fight us, and we're gonna have to figure a way to creatively hold them down while we get this thing fed in there. Otherwise, we are gonna have a problem. Okay, so we might pause and figure that out, and we'll come right back. All right, so I found this carbon fiber rod and I fed it through the tube. I realized this stuff actually needs to feed through the tube. I forgot that. This one little dinky wire for the LED is not fed through the tube. It goes outside the tube. Okay, so off camera, admittedly, because we're trying to charge our phone, I taped this onto the end of the carbon fiber and I just fed it through and just kind of like moved it around, okay? So what we're gonna do is we're gonna feed this through. If you have trouble taping this on, go to the other side, please. you can push this carbon fiber rod or whatever you use to feed it through down here and you can tape it off. That's all the length you have to work with. Okay, so now what I have to do is I have to just do the three-handed hand trick here and just guide this through. And I'm gonna use my fingers. I have no idea what angle you have to be at. You have to guide this through. And once you get all three of those motor leads fed through the pipe, then, and only then, you can start guiding this down. So I'm glad we didn't get some method because it wouldn't have worked. Because you have to actually go around. See, now I can just guide this through. It's pretty easy now. So every time that I go a couple, quarters of an inch, I just slide it through and so on and so forth. And I'm not having any problems now. It's a little awkward still. Okay, so now that that's in, you can see we're getting close to poking through. Okay, so you're gonna have to move your body. Okay, so I'm pulling gently on this carbon fiber rod, and that's gonna drop down in. Now you can see, there it is. You see it right there? Mm-hmm. So now I just need to get this lined up so that the boom lines up with that plastic. Yep, there it goes. So it's on. We're to the first hole. Now we got to get to the second hole, if I recall. Or do we? I honestly do not remember. Yeah, we got to get to that second hole there, okay? So, in fact, because I can, I'm going to check my other one. I'm pretty sure you have to go over both of them. Yep, you have to go over both of them.
Okay.
So, as you can see, at some point these wires are going to get to where I can grab them and pull them down, okay? So you can see right here, they're accessible now, okay? And eventually I'll pull, and then this carbon fiber rod will slide off the end. Even though I have them taped, I can pull tough, pull harder. You just don't want to unplug the thing down there. Okay, so now it's on. So we can, there's screws right here. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 big screws and 2 small screws. I'm assuming the 2 small screws go back here. Okay, so we'll grab those. I believe they're of the 1.5 millimeter size. Oh no, we need 4 on here because there's 2 on each side, right? These 2 actually hold this. No, because they already have 2 screws in it. Crap, where does that go? Oh, they go under here. Nope, those 4 go under there. So how does this work? I can't remember. That's why I taped them all together, guys. But look, there's marks on both sides.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4. There's clearly 4 that need to go in here. And then these 2 go on the other half of the equation. So we'll just leave those right there. These are going to be of the 2 millimeter persuasion. Yep. And so you can just move the blades out of the way. Yep, that works. Okay.
They do have that other diagram of putting them back together if we need to look at.
They do?
Yeah.
Let's double check before we get too excited.
Okay.
Because I don't want to undo all this crap.
Because they had that we looked at originally.
Wrong way.
No, it was up.
It was up here?
Yeah, right here.
Okay.
And this is what I was thinking of.
So there's 2 from the side.
Oh,
There's
that
4.
must be those little ones. Okay.
There's 4.
So there are 4 on the
okay.
tip.
So the other thing too is I can actually take this rod out now, okay? So you can see that we have control of the wires still. So I'm gonna reach in there, but I probably need some forceps. Mostly I just don't want that carbon fiber rod in the way anymore because it's kind of obnoxious. And yes, I just had that lying around because that's the way it is. All the rest of the screws are still in their respective apparatuses, okay? So right here, you can see we have to plug this to that, okay? We have to plug that to this thing, and then this to that thing.
Okay.
That is a programming cable for the ESC, so we don't need to get to that. But my biggest issue now is I've got one singular screw in, which is fine. And I need to basically separate so I can pull those wires for the ESC for the tail motor down through this opening here. So I'm going to keep this rod attached so I can guide it back. I'm going to try to grab any of them. Gosh, that might be kind of challenging. Oh, there's one of them up there, but I got to make sure I pull it back through here. You see? There they are. So maybe I just need to pull this out. Yep. Oh no, it unplugged the cable.
Oh.
So that's a problem. How am I going to do that? I do not know how I'm going to do that. So we'll pause and come back. Okay, so we're gonna just untape this stuff because now that we've unplugged that, we kind of screwed the pooch there. That was my bad, obviously. I was thinking I could pull hard enough to just undo the tape, but I evidently taped it too good to do that. Okay, so now this yanked off the whatever connector that is. I don't even know what it is, to be honest. So now we need to basically get that connector back to here. And I am honestly not sure how the heck we're gonna do that. Because I gotta undo this now. Okay, so I'm gonna undo this. That's gonna get us access to pulling the tail boom out. Okay.
Where'd that screw go? Oh, there. Okay, yeah.
Okay, so that's there. So now I need to figure out how the heck to refeed this, okay? So I know for a fact I can pull this back out, which is probably what we're gonna have to do in total, okay? It's gonna have to completely come out, okay? Because yeah, like the plug is all the way back now. So that sucks. So pulling this back out, I know I need to feed this back through. And the only reason I took that all the way out is because there's no other way to do it that I can tell, okay? So now that that's pulled out, this is what we're trying to plug back into the motor in the tail, okay? So obviously we can't just stick that in there.
Right.
Okay? So what I think I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take this thing, I'm gonna set it on top of here, and I'm probably gonna tape it so that it's pressing against that connector, okay? And then I'm gonna use just electrical tape just like I did the first time.
How are you gonna know which way it plugs in?
I'm gonna tape this on, and then I'm gonna talk about that when I get ready to talk about that here in a second. All right, so now that that's taped on there, that is gonna just position it, okay? Then I can just pull out of this, all right? So obviously I can't just do this, but that's how you tell what direction it goes, by looking at that. So we need the individual one up. Look at the individual one is up. The individual one is up, okay, people? So I'm laying it down so it's gonna go that direction, the individual one,
Okay.
okay? So now I'm gonna do the exact same thing I did to feed the wires. The only difference is I'm gonna push this all the way through the boom, okay? So it's all the way through the boom, or it will be, okay? Once it's all the way through the boom, I'm gonna have even more length to deal with, okay? So now that that's all the way through the boom, I can control this. Now the other thing is we could also just plug it in and then redo that whole process.
Feed it back through again.
Yeah, that's probably the easier way to do it. So yes, I am gonna press this in without it going through the boom. Then I'm gonna re-guide this back through the boom.
Okay.
Not an easy way to do it, okay? So now I've got a hold of that and I can apply pressure. So I'm gonna slide this through the channel. It's not super easy process here, guys. Now the other thing is I could try to do this with the boom around it. We are not gonna be able to film this part. I just don't see that there really is a way to film it.
I don't.
Because the only way to do it now would be to take the motor out, pull the motor back through.
But see, there's the connector. I mean, like I can see both ends of the connector right here from my
Right.
perspective.
Yeah, I know. So we need the single one up, right?
Yes.
So I gotta spin it.
Towards you. Towards. you now.
But I got to make sure this isn't all tangled up either. So it's got to go up. So now I've got that going upward. There's got to be a better way to do this. Oh, I got lucky. It was lined up. It's lined up. Oh, I'm in it. So show the people I'm in it.
Yeah.
So now I just got to figure out a way to support the connector so that I can actually do this. So that means I'm probably going to have to just reach in there with forceps. Frankly, I'm not sure. There's got to be an easier way. Oh, there is an easier way to do it. Look, this whole assembly like pops out. Duh. I was going to say, there's no way that they did that at the factory. No way. And there is no way, because that's not the way they did it at the factory. The way they did it at the factory was like this. Okay? They didn't tape it at all. They just pulled the whole assembly out. Sorry, guys. Sometimes you learn by doing stuff. So this assembly drops down and out. It's not even held in by anything, is it? I just don't know which way it's supposed to go. I just don't want to damage the fan.
You're pushing on that connector.
What connector? Yeah, that
inside
connector?
of it, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so now I've got that out.
Okay.
There's your tail assembly, okay? So yes, it matters what direction it goes. It's going to be facing down in this application. And then they plug it in like this, like everybody else plugs it in. Like that, okay? Now that would be one of those times where it'd be kind of nice to have some sort of retention, but at the same time, that could also nip you in the bud too.
Right.
So now I'm going to go back in the same way I took it out, which is going to be like this. And now that I've got access to it and it's like super easy, I can actually feed this back through. Gosh, this is just not the most convenient thing I've ever done in my life, I can tell you that. But you know, that's also going to now feed through here, okay? So you see what I'm doing? Just carefully put it up here. And then what I need to do is I need to tape these at a standoff like that to make it super easy. And I really don't want to tape it too much.
No. You almost need to use like crappy...
Like clear tape?
Clear tape, because it's going to go through the tube.
It's going to go through fine, yeah.
So don't, yeah, just like super light, I guess.
Here, I'll try sticking it to my pants or whatever to make it less sticky. Yeah, I mean, I hear what you're saying. It's just easier said than done.
I know.
Because you still got to have enough strength to get it through. Okay, so now that that's started, now I can feed that down here just so it's more or less out of the way. And then we can walk this assembly back in. If you guys are watching this thinking, oh, I could do it easier, well, then just do that thing. It's okay. There are times when stuff like this is just awkward, and this is one of them. 100% one of them. Okay, so sliding this up, sliding that into the position where it stays, and then that is not held by anything yet until the boom goes through.
The boom actually is what holds it.
Yep, the boom actually holds it. I did not know that until now. I mean, I assumed the boom was connected, but I didn't know it did anything useful. Okay, so now I'm going to take this. Probably could have used a slightly shorter one, made it a little bit easier on myself, but whatever. Okay, so now I don't know what you're filming.
Do you want me to hold the body while you're getting it lined up?
I don't know. I just want to show the people what's happening. See this? See, now I'm going to grab that. I'm just going to drive that out. It was actually a little bit harder on the other side because of the mechanisms that were in there. Okay, so now I'm just going to guide this so it gets closer to the work. And then as I get closer and closer, I have to now guide the wires in. Now the wires are entering, you see? Why don't you come over here? See the wires entering? If I have to do everything 3 times, it'll take longer. Okay. So now we're going to just guide this as we go. I just pull a little bit at a time, just like we did before. This time we'll actually just not screw it up. Because where we went wrong was distinctly when I pulled too hard, okay? That was the problem, because I then unplugged that connector. So I'm guiding this back, and as I go with my ring finger and middle finger, on my left hand, I'm just guiding that through the little bit extra cable. Okay. Now I'm gonna just take a second and guide these ones in, make sure I don't get them pinched in anywhere. And I know this looks really difficult because it is kind of a pain in the butt. Try doing it this way, see if that makes it a little easier on me. Remember, we only have a limited amount of tape holding that, okay? See, I'm to the point now where it's kind of running into the connector, I wonder? Nope, not yet. We're getting close though.
Okay.
Feels like it's kind of fighting me still here a little bit. And I'm trying not to damage this any more than absolutely necessary. Okay, so there it's in a little bit better. Can't help but feel like I'm bound up a little bit on the wires themselves. Maybe I'm caught on something here. Nope. Not that I can see. Not that I can see. I'm good still there. Okay, so it's going in.
Okay, you're pushing on something here because the fan just moved.
Okay. So, yep, there's the extra wire. So I got to come back out a little bit with it. And then I got to pull the extra wire through. Got it this time.
Okay.
There, the wire pulled back through. I can feel it now.
Okay.
Now it should go back real easy. Okay, so now it's back, and it guided in, didn't it? Okay, so now I just push the fan back into the position where it's central. Oh,
yep,
yeah.
now I can see the tube.
Yep, good.
Okay.
There's the tube.
Yep.
Now we just got to guide the tube on to the tail boom. Gosh, that is not the easiest thing I've ever done. We've done a lot of weird things on this channel. That's probably one of the weirder. They make it sound like it's super easy. And frankly, it's kind of a giant pain in the balls. It's been the hardest part of this project. I mean, you can do it. You could physically do it. I suppose
Right.
if you did it 3 or 4 times, it'd probably be easy by the 3rd or 4th time. About the time you don't need to do it ever again in
Right.
your life. Okay, so now that that's through, the wires are through. Now look, I can see the wires. They're moving around in there. Turn on the light, please. See them moving around in there?
Yeah.
Okay. So now I just got to guide them back to where I can now very carefully get those wires to pop out here, which I've already got one about popped out. Okay. Now I need to, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to take these blades, I'm going to turn them, and that's going to give me something to hold this heli up a little bit.
Okay.
As we work, which is hard on the servos, but it's better than not being able to do it. Okay, so now I'm gonna actually hold the wires this time as a conglomerate. Well, no. Oh, there goes one. You see one's popped up now. One's pop up now. So now I can take that one. I'm gonna hold on to it and just pull it back a little bit. I'm pulling from this side where it's taped. Okay? Got it. That's the red one. So the red one's now separated. Yay! There's the red one. Let's land it before we lose it, okay? Now you're gonna notice we don't have any of the screws tightened, and that's fine, because they are not like beating down the door to be tightened. I'm gonna take this.
You hold the...
Yes.
Okay.
So now I'm just wiggling the wires inside of there. And I'm gonna, oop, got it. Okay, so that one's one of them. It's either the, and we definitely are not gonna unplug that connector this time because there's only one little tiny little bit of tape still attached. Okay, so now we'll plug in the blue one. As you can see, it's now plugged in, which is good. Okay. Then we have one left, and this should be quite easy now that we just have the one we're dealing with. I just got to wiggle it back and forth. Ooh, I twisted it and that got it to pop up for me. Now I just got to get it to pop up high enough that I can actually pull it through. Now I'm holding it with the forceps, pulled the tape off. Now I'm just walking it in 1/4 turn at a time until such a time as, yep, it's popped through now. Good Lord, that was awkward. All right. So now we can just get this last of 3 wires plugged in for the tail rotor. And that was way harder than it could have been. But it also, for you, it might go super easy, to be honest. It's just kind of luck of the draw, if you ask me. Okay, now don't get too excited. Don't forget, you gotta still be careful about cable management stuff because you don't want to get into like a moving part or something stupid like that. Okay, so tuck that down. Then this is the next one I'm doing. Yes, before I put those screws in, I'm doing this. Okay. Because these wires are gonna drop and it's gonna be like darn near impossible. Okay, so it looks like the signal is up, red and black are down, so I'm gonna flip this so it matches. Now that's gonna make the lights work. And then this one is gonna tap power to go down to the singular LED down there. So it's gonna plug that in, tuck this down nicely into that pocket. Then I'm gonna slide this in and drop that down. Okay, you can let go now. Now 1.5 millimeters here to tighten this. And that is going in. Those have like little C-clips or like retainers on the bottom of the screws, so we don't have to worry about those. And then the front landing gear posts are gonna be super easy because I can see the 2 screw holes right now. Camera crew, you wanna go to the front, please? Yep, so these ones are gonna be, I think this one might go that way. A little bit difficult to tell. Those screws do come out, so if you get that wrong, just flip it around. So there's gonna be a total of 4 screws here. Also 1.5 millimeters. Real quick here. We've got 2 to tighten. Then we have to put on the nose support. And then we have to do the back. And then we should be done. Show them the drawing while I tighten this last screw here.
So you have to do these 2 up here, and then the 2 on the side, and then the 4 that are on the tail that we started earlier.
Okay, so then this is the nose gear adapter. So that just drops in, super obvious what way that goes. And then these 2 screws, also in the 1.5 millimeter variety, are gonna tuck that frame. It's gonna tuck that frame in and hold the battery portion of the assembly in place. So the moral of the story is don't crash. Mm-hmm. But even if you do, it's not like you can't recover from that crash, okay? It's just gonna be a lot of work. Getting this going all the way down. Gosh, it just goes forever. Okay. All right, so that's good. Now I can finally put this on its feet. We are done with this. This is what I used. It is a long carbon fiber tube. And well, it's actually just a carbon fiber rod, not a tube. And then we have to put 2 screws into the side, which will be here. And those are also of the 1.5 millimeter variety. They go here. Once those are done, we're gonna put in the 4 on the tail. Just slide those out of the way just there. Okay, and this just holds the foam on. Okay, I just honestly can't tell if it's holding. Got a lot of turns on it, and it just felt like it was kind of bottomed out. Mm. So this thing is gonna spring to life, and it's gonna like lift those things up like a lot, the blades.
Yeah.
See what I'm talking about? It just doesn't feel like it's biting. But I guess we'll worry about that later if it's an issue. I don't think it is. Okay, so then this is 2 millimeters. And obviously this is pretty straightforward stuff. This is just mounting the boom, the actual EDF, if you will, or the tail system onto the boom, which makes it part of the heli. And there's a total of 4 of these screws so that it keeps the cavity inside of the tail opened for the cables to pass through. Okay, so that's good. And then we have, I'm just gonna actually pull this and balance it so that it's a little bit easier on that mechanism underneath. This is garbage. I'm just gonna put that on the camera crew so that she can throw it away when she walks by the garbage. Okay. Let me get this out of my hand. I'll come back and tighten the other one. Now, full disclosure, there are steps on repairing this helicopter that don't require everything being pulled apart. So don't think every crash is going to result in such a detailed repair or such a complicated build / repair. But we do want you to understand that there is generally a way to do it. If there is a way to crash it, there's usually a way to fix it. Not always, and not with every manufacturer. I can tell you from personal experience that sometimes there isn't a way to fix it, which is quite frustrating, especially when you're buying some of these $1,000 scale helicopters that are available right now, okay? All right, so now everything is technically put back together with the exception of the canopy. The canopy, of course, will go on top, but our next move is to basically test it, right? So we can test it somewhat in here, so we'll test it somewhat in here. Throttle cuts on. We're gonna turn this back on. We'll go back to the normal mode. Okay, let that fire up, and while that's firing up, we'll put away some of the tools, and then we're gonna land the cable on the 2200. Is that a 3 or 4S?
3S. No, 4S.
Is that supposed to be a 4S?
That's supposed to be a 4S?
I can't remember.
I think it's only a 3S. Go all the way up to the top of the...
What does it use?
It'll be on...
Scroll, please. Just find that for me, will you? Because you're right, now that I sit and think about that.
Airframe length.
Is it a 3S?
Yeah, 3S 2200.
Okay, so it's probably a good thing I didn't fly it that way because I would have been using the wrong battery. This is 2200 3S. I put a 2200 4S in there. And so as a result, I'm actually going to plug in this 2200 3S so I can charge it because I had a 4S I was trying to run it on. That would be probably not a great thing to do because I'm guessing that while it would probably work, it might catch something on fire.
Right.
So my apologies, folks. I did test it with that and it did run with that.
Right. But we didn't like spool it up or anything.
We didn't even ever take throttle cut off. So that's where we would have had the damaging effects is under load. It would be nice if it ran on 4S. And truthfully, I don't know that we would need a ton of power to test it. So let's take an XBC battery checker while that one's charging and see what we've got here. Yeah, so we're at about 60%. It may not like to start with 60%. Now I've been flying this on 2200 or 3200. You guys might want to fly on something in the middle or whatever. We've been having pretty good luck with that size or that power. I like the way it flies on 2200. I feel like it's a little lighter on its feet. Throttle cuts on in normal mode. Okay, so if normal mode, okay, so everything's good there. Clear the timer. We'll plug this in. So it gives a warning sometimes on the way up. Okay, so now we can put this on and show you that it is, in fact, fully repaired. Now, fully repaired does not mean it's going to fly right, and that's what the last part of this testing is going to consist of. But before we take this thing outside, I want to make sure that everything tips the way it should. Lean forward, lean back, lean to the right, lean to the left. Now, because we're in throttle hold, we can go into stunt 1 and stunt 2, okay? And then we can move the collective to the center, and we should see that that thing is more or less centered, okay? That's up, that's down, that's neutral, okay? And then this would be lean to the right, lean to the left, lean forward. And you can really only see that if you turn that. Lean to the forward, lean to the back, okay? Now back to normal. This thing is ready to test. Now, hopefully we answered some of your lingering questions about this Eclipse 360. I'm super excited to see it fly. I feel like we'd be doing it somewhat of an injustice to fly it on low battery, but we might spool it up and just make sure things take off and level, okay? So we're gonna try that next. Okay, so we got a little bit of wind, but it should be fine for this test. Throttle holds off. This is the first time since we did the repairs. We're gonna let it spool up. Blades might need to center. They seem to have centered. Now remember, we're in safe and normal mode with auto leveling, okay? Let it spool up, double check everything, looks good. Everything's moving the way I think it should, so we're gonna try taking off. Oh yeah, that's pretty good. That looks absolutely beautiful. Okay, so now I'm gonna just show you guys. Neutral sticks, and it's just doing its thing, okay? So now again, we're in normal mode. We're at like a 65% or 60% on the battery, so don't expect to fly this for long, but I do wanna see it go in a couple of circuits. So obviously, in safe and auto leveling, it's good. Camera crew on my left, please. All right, so now we're gonna go out of auto leveling into idle up 1. Okay, so everything feels perfect. Sticks are centered, and that thing is sitting still, okay? So real quick sorties, idle up 2, stunt 2. Here we go. Man, those lights are lifesavers, aren't they? Mm-hmm. Okay, so beautiful, absolutely gorgeous helicopter. We're just doing a little bit of simple maneuvering. That wind is extremely strong. Okay, not so simple here. Well, it's just like really windy, guys. Come in here and do this. On 3S 2200, everything feels very good. Upside down feels beautiful. Right side up feels beautiful. This helicopter, it's fixed, guys. It's fixed, and I am so happy that it's fixed. Because when you crash, it hurts your soul. But when you fix it, it makes you feel so much better. Let's bring it in again in stunt 2, just so you guys can see. Right over our sight line, just in case something blows up. I trust it. Do you?
I trust you, usually.
Okay. Get that tail moving around. Beautiful lights. Guys, this helicopter is ready to go. Let's do a landing for the people. Give us a little bit of room here, camera crew. Now keep in mind, it's windy, windy, windy. And we're just pointed into the wind. I'm in idle up 2 or stunt 2, if you will. I'm just gonna show you this real quick so you can trust me. We'll land it, throttle cut, okay? So there you have it. Simple as that, 5-minute project. Or not. Fixing helicopters can be challenging, especially when you have all these cool body members involved. I just really like this helicopter. It's definitely worth the struggle to fix it. And we're so glad that you guys came along to see and learn maybe a little bit from Brian Phillips RC. But remember, where did we start? BrianPhillipsRC.com, also known as BPRC.me. We followed the links by sorting by type. We went to the manual, we got the explosive view diagram, and then we started identifying parts, and then we showed all the steps start to finish. And that's what we do on Brian Phillips RC, because we want to help you guys enjoy and enrich your lives with this hobby, and not just be frustrated to the point where you've spent all this money on a beautiful helicopter and you made a multi-second bad decision, smack the ground, or whatever it is you did. This helicopter is breathing new life, and I'm super excited to be bringing it to you on Brian Phillips RC. The Eclipse 360, check it out, links in the video description below for the helicopter, and then we will link back to the supplies tab. Also, we have this little thing now, which we didn't have before. I don't know that it matters, but even still, it's there. All right, guys, thanks for watching. Happy crashing.